This is the latest pelican to come in from the South Skyway Fishing Pier with a horrible head injury. Now, as bad as that looks, and we are blurring out the worst of it, he's going to be fine. He's going to be eventually releasable. But the question remains, what or who is doing this to the pelicans? To look at this pelican now, you would never know he looked like this last Thursday when he arrived at Seaside Seabird Sanctuary in Indian Shores.
He actually had a whole skin flap from his beak all the way up in between his eyes that was lifted up. So you could see his skull and the tissue was all removed, just kind of hanging off of there.
Rehabber Melissa Edwards and her team stitched him up. You can hardly tell there was ever such a gruesome wound. He's number 17 in a string of pelicans found with head injuries since mid-January.
As we do get birds with injuries similar to that, once, twice, 3 times a year, but to have 17 birds all in, a span of a month and a half is a bit suspicious.
Fish and Wildlife officers have stepped up patrols on the pier, and they're urging anyone who may know something to give them a call on their hotline. But some of the regulars who fish that pier bristle at the idea one of their own may be to blame.
At the rate that I've been out here and the amount of time I've seen out here, I would not say a fisherman did this.
Mike Gaby spends a lot of time at the pier and fishes there every weekend. He thinks there's a less sinister explanation for the injuries.
We have a lot of newbies, a lot of the newer birds, and that's where I'm seeing these injuries on too. So I'm kind of concerned too that maybe there is something that they're flying into or hitting at the same time.
FWC hasn't ruled that out.
It definitely needed to come in to be repaired.
But Edwards is skeptical about this bird.
Of course, I can't say for sure if someone intentionally did it, but it seemed way too precise to have been an accident in terms of him colliding with something at the pier, running into something, barnacles. It's a little suspicious.
The bottom line?
We need to figure out what's going on for the sake of the birds there.
And of course, that's where the investigation comes in, as fish and wildlife officers and biologists are out there trying to determine if the injuries are intentional, accidental, or perhaps some combination. There is another problem at that pier, which is way too many birds are getting tangled in fishing gear. And tomorrow night at 11, we're going to hear why the COVID pandemic is apparently part of that problem. And in case you know anything about the injured pelicans, here's that FWC hotline number. You might want to keep it handy because you might need it in the future for any kind of wildlife. It's 1-888-404-3922.